I want to talk about the situation with Justin because I kind of want to weigh in on that. I think a lot of people have already kind of got into Channel Awesome and what they've done. I'm not sure if we'll ever get the full picture, not unless people decide to pursue legal action, and I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in moving on. I'm literally in a different country. And so as far as my own personal, what happened is I was in the process of moving. I had been about 3/4 the way, so I left my job, and I had a week span for me to move out. The movers would move my heavy furniture, my bed and bookcases and couch and things like that, bring them to the storage unit on that Saturday. Well, when the story came out, I think it was around a Thursday or so. In the past, I've spoken to a guy named Mr. Medicare. Now, Mr. Medicare is an online troll/journalist, depending on who you ask. I was on his stream a number of years ago, and I've spoken with him in the past, and I am of the opinion that he's a truth teller, and he does it in ways that you may not like, that might be acerbic. Jim is many things, but he's not a liar. So Jim had a 7-part series where he talked about various personalities on the site, and I was wondering if he would do an epilogue with this to talk about this, because this is essentially the implosion of the website. Well, I didn't speak with him directly. I spoke with a colleague of his, and both of us, it turns out, knew different sexual assault survivors. So I knew one, he knew another. There was at least an example of a third person, and then there was the grooming person. I don't know how many victims Justin pursued or survivors that exist out there. I don't know the number, but it's evident that this is something that might be fairly extensive. And it might have also taken place before he became a part of the website. But I spoke with that person that Jim knew, and I said, well, what do we do? Because they have released the secret, so the secret isn't mine to bear, and people on the internet will likely try to figure out who the survivors are anyway. So now it's not a question of me holding that anymore. It's a question about what do we do to support it, and especially how do I, for my own self, get a peace of mind out of this and pursue it in a way that's constructive, I guess you can say. So the suggestion was, well, if the online trolls or because Jim does have a sense of notoriety about him, how do we add legitimacy to this? Well, I have legitimacy, despite how you may disagree with me on politics or other things like that. I'm consistent, and I'm honest, and I have integrity, and that's what I think needed this push to support the survivors, to bring this out of the realm of rumor and slander, or whoever, how they want to define it, and push it towards having some sort of credibility into fact, because it did happen. So that's when it was suggested I speak to Fred, who does the Down the Rabbit Hole, who's again more of a documentary type person and that sort of thing. I spoke with him and recorded it. I had been awake for probably 24 hours at that point. I couldn't sleep, obviously. I was too worked up. And when he did release that, he released the clip, and he barely edited it. So, and then I went on his stream the next day with Dumping with Scrump, and went into more detail with it. And since then, I've spoken to other people, but I wanted to kind of give my own perspective on this. I wanted to put my integrity and credibility on the line for the survivors. I wanted to say, this is not a rumor. Based on everything that I know, I'm confident, extraordinarily confident that this happened. And what needs to be done is for the survivors to be able to get closure from this. Because when Justin, and I mentioned this, when Justin died through suicide, he became martyred. You couldn't say a bad word about it, because suicide is tragic, and it absolutely was tragic the way that he died. But it doesn't change the person that you were. It doesn't change the actions that you did. What if Superman was a rapist? Would that make it okay? No, it wouldn't. And I think for my own self, he was a friend of mine. And at this point, it's been 5 years since I first found out. I know a lot of people are still processing this. I know there's been a lot of heartfelt responses, especially from producers that had crossovers, from people who did memorials and tributes, who raised funds for charities for suicide awareness. And the question that kind of comes up is why? Well, having had 5 years to kind of think on this, I think I've kind of come to this conclusion that it's not, people are not 100% good or 100% evil. People are complex. And in my own background, Justin was there when I was feeling borderline suicidal at times. So the question is, well, now that we know what he did, does that cheapen it? Was it all an act? Doesn't matter. What matters is that I was able to improve myself, get from beyond that point. And the best thing that I could do to kind of hold a middle finger up to everything that he did is to be an amazing person, be the person that he wasn't, to be honest and decent and moral and hardworking and supportive for other people. That's how you reconcile that. So I'm the better person, because Justin's decision to end his own life makes it now that he can never atone for what he did. He can never own up for it. And I don't know if, and maybe that would have been jail time. Maybe that would have been more than just saying you're sorry. I think too, for all the people who were affected by Justin and who viewed him as a good person and are now left with this bitter pill, this ugly realization of what he did. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that you are still alive. It's still your life. And whatever good that came from that, still hold on to that good. Because the sick reality is I actually miss Justin. I miss him in the sense that I feel as though I could have done something. I had a year of time between when I knew and when I could have confronted him, and I didn't do it. And that's something I do regret. I regret not telling him what I actually felt, and the consequences be damned if he somehow used his popularity to smear my reputation. Whatever, I don't care. What would have been good for me is to actually have pursued that, and I didn't because I couldn't, or I wasn't strong enough at the time. But for those people out there, you're not responsible for the things you didn't know. If your suicide prevention charity or fundraising and whatnot saved a single life, you were successful. If a conversation with him at a time in a dark point of your life was the catalyst to make you go forward and go better, take that for what it is. Be the better person. Use the life and the time that you have to be meaningful, because you're alive and he's not. You have time and he doesn't. And more to the point, there was a video he released where he said, "You're not stupid." I think I would say something similar, in the effect of, don't listen to the liar in your head. Don't listen to the voice that tells you that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not capable enough, it's too hard, people are going to hate you. Just ignore it, because it's a liar. I think the way that Justin died through suicide is that I don't have any idea of how it must have weighed on him. But clearly there was some sort of damage or some sort of issue going on there. So even people that have done these things, I think they have the potential to redeem themselves. So in the end, I guess people are just complex. I don't know. I am not equipped to judge a person's soul. I can't do it. And that's something that God or a higher power, or if you just believe that we're snuffed out when we die, great. I can't judge that. But what I can do is live my life to my own principles, to be the kind of person I want to be in the world. And that's it. So the other thing I wanted to bring up too was I actually started a new channel before all of this took place. I had moved on from Channel Awesome and all of that, and I'm living now in a Caribbean country. Okay, for the next 6 months or so, until I get a residency permit, I'll be living in Curacao. And so that's what my main focus is right now. Initially, I had thought, I don't want to talk about this because people will accuse me of standing on controversy to further my own ends, but at this point, if I can draw attention to what I'm doing now and away from the past and away from the ugly and move forward, then that's what I'm going to do. What am I going to do in the future? What's in store for this new situation? Well, I'm living now in Curacao. There's a lot that I don't know about. There's a lot I planned for, and I just wanted to give sort of a chronicle of what it's like to live in a foreign country, what it's like to potentially be an immigrant, because I don't know. What it's like to do the basics, food, transportation, people, what it's like in the cities and downtown, the culture, all that stuff. And also things to like what it's like to get a job. So, and what it's like to buy a car, what are prices like, all that fun stuff. So that's what my motivation and ultimately what I'll be doing in the future. I do intend to speak with some folks. I don't know if this channel will ever get very large, and I doubt it will. It's more so just to show what I'm up to. I do want to leave with this last note that if you have been affected by somebody who has sexually assaulted or raped or done any of these sorts of things, the best thing that you can do is reach out to a professional. I would like to help you, but I'm unable to. I don't have the skill set to be able to, and I'm not a counselor and I'm not a therapist, but there are people out there that can help you. There are people out there that can help you come to terms with what took place and potentially pursue legal action if it's a possibility. So my recommendation is to look into those sexual assault helplines. I'm taking this back from Justin. You're not stupid. Okay, you're not stupid. A lot of people right now are feeling stupid but don't feel that way. You didn't know. You only knew the things that you knew. And people like me had to stay silent because we had to support the survivors, but now that it's out, the truth will set you free. So that's all I've got, and thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by, and take care of yourselves, folks.